Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight for this special primary election edition of WCBI News at 10. I'm Scott Martin. Mississippi voters, they are choosing who will represent their parties on the November ballot. All statewide and county offices, they're up for grabs. Our very own Andrea Self, she's working double duty with us tonight. She joins us live with a look at some of those state races. Andrea.
All right, Scott, thanks so much. And some of those races have already been decided. It's been a very busy night in our newsroom. We are continuing to get numbers, so even during this time that we're on the air, we may be giving you updated numbers. So we're going to start with the governor's race, the Republican side of that. It looks like right now Tate Reeves, current lieutenant governor, is leading that race. We want to remind you he must have the winner in this race, and all of these races must have 50% plus one, or it goes to a runoff, which of course would be in 2 weeks. So that's where it stands now with the Republican governor's race. Now moving to the Democratic side, which is a very crowded field here, but it looks like Jim Hood has been declared the winner here. So Jim Hood we will see on the ticket in November as the Democratic candidate for governor for the state of Mississippi. We move now to the lieutenant governor's race. Delbert Hosemann, who serves now as current Secretary of State, has been declared the winner in this race. He will be facing Jay Hughes in November, who was the only person running on the Democratic side of the lieutenant governor here for the state of Mississippi. We move now to the Secretary of State, the Republican side of that ticket. Michael Watson now leading in that particular race over Sam Britton. We are still waiting to get more numbers in from across the state before we can declare a winner in that particular race. Now on to the Secretary of State's. On the Democratic side, Johnny Dupree leading here pretty handily here. The former mayor of the city of Hattiesburg vying to be the Secretary of State. Again, the race not been called, so we will continue to watch that one as well. Lynn Fitch, of course, our state treasurer, is running as for Attorney General. This race, again, not called. Very close, though, between the second two on the ticket, Mark Baker and Andy Taggart. Very close there, but Lynn Fitch, again, leading on the Republican side of the Attorney General's race. We should know more in the coming hours. State Treasurer, we move now to Buck Clark and David McCray. David McCray is leading in that race. Again, not yet been called. We'll still be watching that one throughout the night. The Northern District Transportation Commissioner race, it looks like John Caldwell is leading there again, but there are some of those other opponents are very close. All of those votes are still coming in, so we'll be watching. Just a reminder, I just want to keep reminding you that they must have 50% plus one to be declared the winner. Let's move on now to some of our House and Senate races. Mississippi House District 39, a very close one here between Dana McLean and Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith, who has held this for a long time, but leading tonight. On to District 38, Sheck Taylor leading Lisa Wynn 103 to 37. Those votes are still coming in. I don't believe we've gotten any from Oktibbeha County so far, both of them residents of Oktibbeha County, so that should really tell the story there in that race. Mississippi House District 36 on the Democratic side. Carl Gibbs is leading now over Jimmy Davidson, 998 to 645. Again, those numbers still coming into our newsroom. House District 19 on the Republican side. It looks like Randy Boyd is leading in this one over Peggy Hussey. He's pulled ahead about an hour ago. She was leading. Mississippi House District 35 on the Republican side. Joey Hood leading 506 right now to Billy Tabbs 337. Mississippi House District 42 on the Democratic side. Very close race still tonight. Carl Mickens leading with 290 over Dirk Dixon with 248. Again, all of these votes still being counted across the different counties tonight. Mississippi Senate District 8 on the Republican side. Right now in the lead, Stephen Griffin with 454. This one, though, still not decided. We'll move on to Mississippi Senate District 8 on the Democratic side, pardon me. Keegan Coleman leading right now with 891 votes. Again, we are continuing to follow all of these races. Please join us on our social media platforms at WCBI.com, and we will continue to update all of these races. Right now, though, I'm going to send you back over to the desk with Scott.
All right, Andrea, thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break from these races and get a look at our forecast tonight. We'll send things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Hey, Keith.
Scott, is a warm and sultry summer evening around here. We've got mid-70s to still around 80 or 81 there. Look at that, in Tupelo, 81 degrees. Now, we are watching some dying thunder showers and storms here across Arkansas and West Tennessee. Our high-res model guidance is actually suggesting some of that could sneak into North Mississippi later tonight. However, most spots will not see that. Maybe none of us will see it. We'll just hedge the bet, include that possibility. Lows down into the 70s. We're going to have more heat, more humidity in the days ahead, Scott. We'll have your 70 in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thank you very much. Back to those primary elections. 4 folks are on the ballot for Webster County Sheriff. 3 Democrats and 1 Republican are in that race. It's one we're watching very closely. A lot of you may remember back in December of 2018, that's when the former Sheriff Tim Mitchell was charged with 12 felonies. Now, he was only indicted on 10 of those. And he did plead guilty to 4 just last month. Our Cash Matlock, he joins us live in Webster County with a closer look at that sheriff's race.
I'm here behind the brand new Webster County Courthouse, and behind me you can see they are, well, maybe you can see it, they're actually reading off the unofficial results of the sheriff's race and all the other races going on here. We got folks, it's kind of set up kind of like a tailgate style. They've got a giant whiteboard where they're reading the results, and I've got those numbers here for you now. Now, here are the latest numbers for the sheriff's race. This is on the Democratic side. You've got Bill Bland at 763. You've got David Gore at 1,037. You've got Casey Henderson at 945. Now, this is 17 of 17 precincts reporting. And again, this is unofficial, so there are 269 absentee votes that have not been counted yet. So once again, these are the unofficial results, and it looks like you've got David Gore coming in first with 1,037. And we're also watching other races, including the tax assessor. We've got all of those updates. You can see those on our screen. And of course, you can follow our social media accounts. We've got WCBI on social media. You can follow our Twitter, our Facebook. You can also follow my Twitter, Cash Matlock WCBI, for live updates here in our at Cash Matlock WCBI for live updates here in Webster County for this race. Also my Facebook, Cash Matlock News. We're going to be updating it throughout the night with the latest information. Reporting in Webster County, Cash Matlock WCBI News.
All right, Cash, thank you very much. Looks like they're having an election tailgating night. And do want to point out the winner of that Democratic candidate on the Webster County Sheriff will face Jeffrey Mann, the Republican candidate on the November ballot. Also, the sheriff's race in Lowndes County, it's another hot one. On top of that race, there's the open seat for the Chancery Clerk. With more on what we're following here in Lowndes County, we'll send things over to Joey Barnes. Joey, you've been at the courthouse. You've been running back and forth for us all night tonight.
Indeed, I have. The courthouse filled with folks as they're watching that open sheriff's race where former NBN agent Eddie Hawkins, or well, he's still an NBN agent, but on leave while running this campaign, former Columbus police officer Rick Jones and current Chief Deputy Greg Wright, all running for sheriff on the Republican ticket there. Right now, Greg Wright leading the pack on that. And moving over to another open race, Chancery Clerk Cindy Good leading there as well. And if that trend continues, may not need a runoff, although the sheriff's race is looking like a runoff. And also in another open seat, Tripp Harsted there leading the way in that race. Now, there's actually 6 open races in Lowndes County this election season. And now we take a look at Constable District 1. This is another open seat. Chris Griffin leading Soldier Robles right now in that race. Moving on to Justice Court Judge, the incumbent Chris Hemphill leading former Caledonia Town Marshal Ben Kilgore in that race. And then for prosecutor, Corky Smith is trailing Steve Wallace, both attorneys here in Columbus. So numbers still coming in. Those numbers are not final. So I am about to head back to the courthouse, and we'll continue to keep you updated online and, of course, here on WCBI all night long. Scott?
All right, Joey, thank you very much. Yeah, as Joey said, online, WCBI.com. We have a link over there on our website, as well as our social media accounts, updating these numbers constantly. So if you have a question or want to see what that number was, go to our website, or at the bottom of your screen, you see here us. We're updating those numbers as well. Well, just like Lowndes County, Choctaw County also has an opening for a sheriff. Our Quentin Smith, he's in Choctaw County, where he's been following those numbers there. He joins us live with the very latest. Hey, Q.
Yeah, Scott, I'm here in Choctaw County. As you can see behind me, there's a big crowd of residents still on hand. Now, they're doing things the old school way here in Choctaw County. They're writing their results on 2 dry erase boards outside of the courthouse. Now, the race that's getting the most attention here in Choctaw County is the sheriff's race. Right now in the Democratic primary, you have Brandon Busby going up against former Sheriff Doug Mahan. And right now, it's Busby in the lead with 370 votes. Now, the winner of the Democratic primary will face off against Kevin McConnell in November. He's the lone Republican candidate running for sheriff right now. Now, I just finished speaking with members with the Election Commission, and they tell me they still have about 8 more boxes left to count tonight. I'm going to remain out here, but we'll bring you the latest results from these races here in Choctaw County coming up on our website at WCBI.com, as well as in the morning for WCBI Sunrise. But for now, reporting live in Choctaw County, Quentin Smith, WCBI News.
All right, Quentin, thank you very much. And he may have mentioned this, forgive me if he did, but the winner of that Democratic nomination would face Kevin Cannell, the Republican, in the general election come November. Now we want to turn things over to Clay County. Several races there. In Clay County, Circuit Clerk Bob Harrell is working his last election. He will not be running for re-election this year, leaving that job wide open. And here is a look. There's 5 candidates there on the Democratic side for the Clay County Circuit Clerk. Kim Hood looked to be taking the lead there. Barbara Spraggins actually works there at the office, at the Circuit Clerk's office. We're also following the sheriff's race in Clay County. Current Sheriff Eddie Scott looks to be taking the lead there as well. This will be his 3rd term, or as he seeks his 3rd term as sheriff there in Clay County. We're also looking at the Clay County Supervisor District 2 race. Here's the candidates here on the Democratic side. Right now it looks like Luke Loomis taking the lead in that race as well. Also, so a few more there. I apologize. It looks like R.B. Davis might be taking the lead on that one. Didn't realize we had 2 graphics there on that. All these numbers, as we said, updated on our website, WCBI.com. Clay County Supervisor District 3, the Democratic side. Here are these candidates trying to find that seat. I believe it may be an open seat. As we said, Bob Harrell not running for re-election for the supervisor, or for the circuit clerk position, that is. Now, we'll have more of our special election coverage right here on WCBI when we come back, including a live report from Monroe County where the sheriff's race has been heating up this year. Stay with us.
WCBI election coverage is brought to you by Bank First. Bank First, a better way to bank. Member FDIC.